Christmas! Welcome to our lesson for today. So remember, last time we talked about how the shepherds went to see the baby Jesus and how an angel came and told them about Jesus being born, and then a whole choir of angels appeared behind him and they all started singing praises to Jesus who had been born. Then when the shepherds went and they saw baby Jesus, they were so happy that when they left, even them, they were singing praises to Jesus because God had fulfilled his promise and given them a king. So now let's see what happens next.
So not only the Jews were looking for the king, the wise men were also looking for this king who was being born in the land of the Jews. So the wise men used to study the stars and the planets, and they believed that this could tell the future. When Jesus was born, there was a huge bright star and it had so much brightness, and the wise men believed that this means that the king has been born.
Yes, so because they believed that the king had been born because of the bright star, they quickly packed all of their bags and gathered everything that they needed, and they even packed gifts and riches, and they packed their bags and they headed to Jerusalem because that was where the palace was. And they thought if a new king has been born, then he must be in the palace. But when they got to the palace, the only king that they found was a king named King Herod. Now King Herod was greedy and he was selfish and he had all of this power and all of this authority, and he only wanted to keep it for himself. He didn't want there to be another king. So when he heard about the wise men at his gate, and then he heard that they were asking about a new king, he went and he called all of the religious leaders together and he told them, go and find any information you can about this prophesied king. So they went and they looked and they gathered information, and then they came back and told King Herod. So King Herod called the wise men and told him what his religious leaders had found. He told the wise men, go to Bethlehem. That is where the Messiah, the baby that they were looking for, has been born. And then he told them, when you get there and go to the exact place where he was born, come back and tell me so that I can go and give him gifts as well.
So the wise men began to head to Bethlehem, and at night the star appeared again, the huge bright star. It appeared again and it led them straight to Jesus. It led them to where Mary and Joseph were. And by this time, Mary and Joseph had moved from the barn to another house. But the house was a simple house. It wasn't fancy, it wasn't luxurious. They had no maid, but this is where they stayed. And the wise men, with no doubt, they believed that this is where they are supposed to be.
So even though there were no riches around, the wise men believed that there was a king living here. So they all bowed down low, and then their rich clothes was sweeping the floor, but they didn't care. They bowed down low and worshipped the baby Jesus. Then they removed their gifts. So the first gift was they had a gift of gold, and this is a gift fit for any king. So they gave the king gold. Then they had a gift of frankincense. Now, frankincense is an incense that usually burns in a temple when you're worshiping. So they gave him a gift of frankincense. Then they gave him myrrh, which is a spice that is used when burying the dead. So they gave Jesus all of their gifts.
So at night, as the wise men were sleeping, God told them that they should not go back to Herod because Herod had no good plans, so they should not go back to give him any information. And in the morning when they woke up, they went back home, but they used another route.
So children, we see that another group of people have come to visit Jesus, and these are wise men. Wise men are very smart, they know a lot of things, they study the stars, and they're also very, very rich. So, and when they went to see Jesus, there were no riches surrounding Jesus, the new king. Remember, they thought he would be in a palace, a big place, but there were no riches, and he was not in a palace. He was just in a simple home. but they still bowed down and worshipped him and gave him their gifts because they had been led to where Jesus was and they believed that this is their savior. So just the same way the wise men were led by the star and guided to where Jesus was born, we need to allow God to guide us to him. The same way the wise men followed what God had shown them in the star, we need to do the same thing and allow God to guide us to him so that we can be saved. So everyone stand up and help us sing the song, which is a carol that says joy to the world. Okay, kids, we've just talked about the wise men and how they came to visit Jesus. And last week we talked about the shepherds and how they came to visit Jesus. And the week before we talked about how Jesus is born. And the week before that we talked about how an angel came and spoke to Mary and also spoke to Joseph and told them about Jesus. So now that Jesus is here and he's in the world and he's with us and he's in our hearts, we are going to sing a song that says joy to the world because Jesus is here. The Lord is here. So everyone stand up and help us sing this song. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. And heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. And heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. And heaven and nature sing, 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 and heaven and nature sing. Yay! Okay, kids, it's time for us to do our lesson. Now, we've just learned about how the wise men followed a star and how it led them all the way to Jesus and how they visited him and gave him gifts of gold, of frankincense, and of myrrh. So, what we're going to do right now is we are going to make a big star that we can hang around in our room or anywhere around us, so whenever we see it, we remember the story of the wise men and how they went to visit baby Jesus. So, let's start making our star. So, we have a shape of a star and now we're just going to start creating it.
So we're going to color the star using whatever color we want.
Okay, once we're done coloring, now we get to decorate the star. So take your glue and your glitter and just have fun decorating the star until it's shining very, very brightly. Because remember, the star that led the wise men was shining bright.
So I just put then you take glitter and sprinkle on the area where you've put your glue. So you just decorate the star however you want.
Okay, so once we are done glittering our star and decorating it, we can take it and hang it up wherever we want in the room. So that when we look at it, we remember that the wise men were led by a star to Jesus, and how we should allow Jesus to lead us to him, however he's going to choose to lead us. So when we see this star, we remember the story of the wise men, and we remember that we should always choose to follow God and follow Jesus, because he's always leading us somewhere great. So this is our craft for today, and that has been our lesson for today. So until next time, bye.